Nike, an organization that got her on a bargain basement deal and is telling her, well, we're going to wait to promote you until we're done promoting Asia Wilson.
Caitlin Clark just made one of the boldest moves in recent endorsement history, and it's sending shockwaves through the industry. After being massively undervalued by Nike, who signed her to a bargain basement $28 million deal and then proceeded to ignore her, Caitlin has turned the tables in a way no one saw coming. She didn't just walk away from Nike, she sprinted straight into the arms of Adidas, landing a monumental $50 million contract.
I want to say it's $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years. It's almost $30 million, something like that.
This is more than a deal. It's a declaration of power, a signal to the world that Caitlin Clark is not just the future of women's basketball, she's a global force to be reckoned with. Think about it. Nike, the biggest name in athletic gear, completely fumbled with one of the hottest talents in sports, giving Adidas the perfect opening to swoop in. And Adidas? They didn't hesitate. They didn't see just another athlete, they saw a game changer, a headline maker, a player who's packing arenas and breaking viewership records. Adidas locked Caitlin down and is about to make her the face of their women's sports division, treating her like the superstar she is. This isn't just a standard endorsement. Adidas is going all in signature shoes, exclusive gear, an entire lifestyle brand built around Caitlin. She's not just going to dominate on the court, she's set to take over the fashion world too. Nike may have missed the memo, but Adidas knows what's up. Caitlin is more than an athlete, she's a movement, and Adidas is ready to ride that wave all the way to the top. This is the moment women's basketball fans have been waiting for. Caitlin Clark, backed by Adidas, is about to rewrite the rulebook. Get ready because this is huge. But before we continue, do yourself a favor, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any updates or major news like this. In the high-stakes world of sports, where multi-million-dollar deals are inked daily and brand endorsements often carry the weight of championship trophies, Caitlin Clark has made a decision that will not only redefine her career, but also send shockwaves through the industry. At a time when most athletes would jump at the chance to secure $1 million contract, Clark made a bold and calculated move that few could have predicted. While most would think that turning down a multi-million-dollar deal is risky business, Caitlin showcased her true confidence, understanding her value beyond the digits on the check. Rather than signing what was being offered, she tossed the lucrative deal aside, knowing that she could command more from an organization that truly recognized her worth. And that's exactly what she did, choosing to walk away from Nike and sign a brand new deal with Adidas, a move that has left Nike stunned and sports fans across the world buzzing. This decision wasn't just a simple switch of sponsorships, it was a statement about who Caitlin is, where she sees herself in the future, and the standards she's setting for her career. The whispers of her departure from Nike had been circulating for a while, but it wasn't until ESPN confirmed the news that it became crystal clear. Caitlin Clark wasn't just looking for a new deal, she was looking for a partnership that matched her ambition and long-term goals. Nike may have had her under contract, but they didn't see the full potential of what she could offer. In contrast, Adidas understood exactly who Caitlin was and what she represented. This wasn't just a financial decision for Caitlin. This was about finding a brand that saw her not as another athlete, but as a cultural force capable of transforming the entire sport. To many, Caitlin's choice raised eyebrows, leading to the natural question, how could she walk away from an existing contract with Nike and legally sign with Adidas? Isn't that kind of move bound by legal constraints? It turns out that when you're as high profile and influential as Caitlin, there are often ways to work through the technicalities. Nike may have had her under contract, but they also didn't meet their end of the bargain when it came to recognizing and promoting her as the star she was becoming. Brands have legal obligations, but they also have unwritten ones, the duty to amplify the talent they endorse. When Nike fell short of delivering on that front, Caitlin had every right to look for better opportunities, and Adidas was more than ready to step in. Through legal loopholes, smart negotiation, and a vision for her future, Caitlin made her exit from Nike and landed a deal with Adidas that truly reflects her stature. When Caitlin Clark was named Rookie of the Year, it wasn't just another achievement for her growing list of accolades. It was a defining moment that cemented her status as one of the most exciting and promising talents in women's sports. For most, the Rookie of the Year award is a sign of great things to come. For Caitlin, it was a signal that she had already arrived, and everyone needed to take notice. Adidas, always on the hunt for athletes who can transcend their sport, had their eyes on Caitlin long before her Rookie of the Year win. They didn't just see another promising young player, they saw a future icon in the making. As Caitlin took the stage to accept her award, Adidas wasn't just applauding politely from the sidelines. Behind the scenes, they were gearing up to offer her a deal that would catapult her to global stardom. They saw what Nike didn't. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rising star, she was the future of basketball. Caitlin Clark's talent on the court has never been in question. From the moment she stepped onto the professional stage, it was clear that she was going to change the game. Her presence alone electrified arenas, driving ticket sales through the roof and creating a demand for her jersey that stores couldn't keep up with. Fans weren't just showing up to watch her, they were becoming part of the movement she was creating. Her impact wasn't limited to her performance, she was inspiring the next generation of athletes and igniting a new level of excitement around women's basketball. Adidas didn't waste any time in recognizing this. While Nike remained silent, seemingly unaware of the goldmine they were sitting on, Adidas swooped in with precision and purpose. This wasn't just about signing another athlete for them. Adidas was investing in a movement, one that Caitlin was at the center of. Let's pause for a moment and consider Nike's position in all of this. In 2023, Nike signed Caitlin to what they likely thought was a solid deal. They offered her $28 million, which at first glance might seem like a significant sum. But when you consider Caitlin's influence, talent, and marketability, it quickly becomes clear that $28 million was far from what she was worth. Nike may have thought they were securing the future of women's basketball with that deal, but what they failed to do was recognize the true potential of their new signee. And then came the biggest blunder of all: silence. After Caitlin's Rookie of the Year victory, Nike did nothing. No major campaigns, no billboards, no commercials celebrating one of the most dynamic players they had under contract. It was as if they had forgotten she was even part of their roster. In the world of sports marketing, where brands invest heavily in amplifying their athletes, Nike's failure to promote Caitlin was glaring. And it didn't take long for Adidas to see the opportunity they had been waiting for. Rumors started swirling that Adidas was preparing to offer Caitlin a deal worth around $50 million, almost double what Nike had offered. This wasn't just about offering more money, though. Adidas saw Caitlin as more than just an athlete. They saw her as someone who could redefine women's sports and change the conversation around the entire industry. Adidas didn't just want to sign Caitlin, they wanted to make her the cornerstone of their women's sports division. To them, this was an investment in the future, and Caitlin was the player who could take them to new heights. Caitlin's impact during her rookie year went far beyond individual accolades. She didn't just help her team win games, she changed the way people viewed women's basketball. Attendance at WNBA games skyrocketed. Merchandise with her name sold out in record time, and viewership for women's basketball surged by an incredible 25%. This was more than just a spike in interest, it was a revolution. Caitlin wasn't just playing the game, she was transforming it, and Adidas was quick to recognize the magnitude of what was happening. Caitlin's influence wasn't limited to her on-court abilities. She was inspiring a new generation of athletes, sparking conversations about gender equality in sports, and driving a movement that Adidas wanted to be part of. Nike, on the other hand, completely missed the mark. Despite having one of the most exciting players in the game under contract, they treated Caitlin like an afterthought. After her Rookie of the Year win, Nike should have been celebrating her achievements with all the fanfare they could muster. Instead, they focused on other athletes who weren't having nearly the same level of impact. It was a decision that left fans and analysts alike scratching their heads. How could a brand as savvy as Nike ignore a player who was breaking records and creating headlines every time she stepped onto the court? It was a massive oversight, and Adidas wasn't about to let the same thing happen on their watch. By the time the WNBA season came to a close in 2024, it was evident to everyone that Nike had dropped the ball. Caitlin's fans weren't shy about expressing their disappointment either. Social media was flooded with comments from fans who couldn't understand why Nike wasn't giving their star the recognition she so clearly deserved. Caitlin's loyal supporters wanted to see their favorite player celebrated, and when Nike failed to do so, Adidas stepped in and did what Nike should have done from the start. Adidas didn't just offer Caitlin a bigger paycheck, they offered her something far more valuable: respect and the opportunity to become the face of their entire women's sports division. Adidas wasted no time in positioning Caitlin as their new star. This wasn't just another endorsement deal. This was a full-on partnership. Adidas wasn't interested in simply selling shoes and apparel with Caitlin's name on them. They saw the bigger picture. Caitlin was more than just an athlete. She was a cultural force, someone who could inspire change and reshape the narrative around women's sports. Adidas wanted to be the brand that supported her every step of the way, and they were willing to invest whatever it took to make that happen. The partnership between Caitlin Clark and Adidas is nothing short of revolutionary. If you look at the careers of athletes like Steph Curry, Serena Williams, and Michael Jordan, you'll notice that they didn't just dominate their respective sports, they transformed them. These athletes transcended the game and became cultural icons. Adidas sees Caitlin in the same light. They don't just see her as a talented player, they see her as someone who can redefine the future of women's sports. Adidas isn't just thinking about short-term profits. They're building a legacy around Caitlin that will last for generations. Adidas's vision for Caitlin goes far beyond basketball. They see her as someone who can influence fashion, culture, and the way women's sports are marketed. This isn't just about rolling out a few signature shoe lines and calling it a day. Adidas is investing in Caitlin's brand, from exclusive jerseys to lifestyle apparel that fans will wear on and off the court. They're not just making her a basketball star, they're building an empire around her name. And they're doing it with the understanding that Caitlin isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. At the heart of this partnership is the recognition that Caitlin Clark isn't just another athlete. She's a movement. She has the potential to change the way the world views women's basketball, and Adidas is betting big on her ability to do just that. They're not just thinking about the next season, they're thinking about the next generation. Adidas knows that with Caitlin at the forefront, they can help shape the future of women's sports for years to come. This isn't just about profits, it's about building a lasting legacy. For Caitlin, this deal with Adidas is about more than just a payday. It's about aligning herself with a brand that understands her vision and values her worth. Caitlin isn't just in this for the money, she wants to be part of something bigger. She wants to inspire the next generation of athletes and prove that women's sports deserve the same respect, attention, and investment as men's sports. Adidas gives her the platform to do just that, and together they're ready to change the game. Caitlin Clark's move from Nike to Adidas is much more than just a new endorsement deal. It's a defining moment for women's sports and for Caitlin's career. By leaving Nike, a company that signed her to a $28 million deal but didn't fully capitalize on her potential, Caitlin has made a bold statement about her worth and her vision for the future. Choosing Adidas with a massive $50 million contract shows that Caitlin isn't just another athlete. She's a trailblazer ready to reshape the landscape of women's sports. Nike's failure to promote Caitlin after signing her was a huge oversight. After her Rookie of the Year win, Nike remained silent, missing the opportunity to celebrate one of the most exciting players in basketball. While they focused on other athletes, Caitlin's star power continued to rise, with her games drawing record crowds and her jersey becoming one of the most sought after in women's sports. Fans wanted to see Nike backing Caitlin with campaigns, signature shoes, and more, but it never happened. Adidas, however, saw the opportunity and wasted no time in offering her a deal that reflected her growing influence. This move isn't just about the money. For Caitlin, it's about aligning with a brand that recognizes her true value and is willing to invest in her as both an athlete and a cultural figure. Adidas has made it clear that they don't just want to sign another athlete, they want to make Caitlin the face of their women's sports division. They're giving her the platform to launch signature shoes, exclusive gear, and an entire lifestyle brand built around her. This partnership represents a mutual understanding that Caitlin is more than just a player. She's a movement, someone who can inspire the next generation and elevate women's sports to new heights. The decision to leave Nike and sign with Adidas was also about taking control of her own narrative. Caitlin isn't just interested in playing the game, she wants to lead, inspire, and make a lasting impact. With Adidas, she has found a brand that shares her vision and is ready to support her every step of the way. This deal allows her to influence not only basketball, but also fashion, culture, and how women's sports are marketed. It's a partnership that goes beyond the court, reflecting Caitlin's ambitions to become a global icon and role model for young athletes everywhere. For Adidas, this is a smart investment. Caitlin Clark is one of the brightest stars in women's sports, and her influence is only growing. By partnering with her, Adidas is positioning itself at the forefront of the women's sports revolution. This deal isn't just about short-term profits, it's about building a legacy. With Caitlin as the face of their brand, Adidas is showing that they are committed to supporting women athletes and helping them achieve the recognition and respect they deserve. In the end, Caitlin's decision to leave Nike and join Adidas is more than a business move, it's a statement. It's about knowing her worth, taking control of her future, and aligning with a brand that truly values her. Together, Caitlin and Adidas are set to change the game, not just for themselves, but for women's sports as a whole. This partnership is a game changer, and the sports world will be watching closely as Caitlin Clark continues to rise, leading the charge into a new era of women's basketball. What do you think about Caitlin's bold move to Adidas? Do you think Nike dropped the ball, or was this the perfect opportunity for Adidas to make their mark? Share your comments down below and let us know your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on major updates like this.